and welcome to the Habicast, Habitat Pinellas and West Pasco's podcast and broadcast show where we highlight our homeowners, our staff, our partners who help make an impact in the community. I'm your co-host, Morgan Brochetti, and I'm here with our president and CEO, Mike Sutton. Hi, Mike. How are you?
I am good. This is take two. So I think when you use technology, you never know what's going to happen.
You never know.
We had a phone overheat, so we're starting over here, but we're going to do it all again.
It's all great.
But how are you?
I'm great. I'm excited to be back in the studio, if we will say that. We actually have a new studio being built out on the other side of our office, so that's coming
This
soon.
is our temporary.
This is our
temporary setup.
Temporary space, but we're in our living HR collaboration room that has our culture code in the back. We've got some really nice furniture. It's a really good collaboration room. So I'm just happy to be here filming with you today.
Yeah, and I'm excited. We have a couple folks from our staff that are going to be on today. We're going to talk a little bit about women in construction, and we are fortunate to have two staff members who both serve in leadership capacities at Habitat that we're going to talk to today.
Yeah, I'm very excited. So we've got Kirsten Valentine and Gaby Camacho, both on our construction team. And, we're focusing on women in construction. It's actually the entire week. And then earlier this week on Tuesday was International Women's Day. So we're doing a lot to highlight not only just our staff and those that work in here in construction, but we also will have some partners throughout the month get highlighted in that field.
It's not a month; it's a week thing.
I think it's there's an international day. Is that Tuesday was the 8th, and then there's a week, but then there's also a month that overlaps. There's a lot going on.
Well, women in construction is a year-round thing here at Habitat.
Absolutely.
So obviously, Gaby served. She serves on our executive team here at the organization. And has moved her way up in the organization. When I started here 8 years ago, she was out in the field like Kirsten.
Right.
And so what's been really neat about her is seeing her really grow her career here and take on more responsibilities. And she oversees our entire construction function, which is really, really neat. And Kirsten, who came to us because she, and I'm sure she's going to talk about this today, but she came to us through a Global Village trip.
Yeah.
She went with a group of volunteers to Cambodia.
Yeah.
And she enjoyed the experience so much that she applied for a job with us and has kind of learned as she's grown. And she's both of them, though, are great assets to the organization.
Absolutely.
We're fortunate to have such awesome team members here at Habitat.
We sure are. I think that what I'm most excited to hear about their perspective on their proudest moments. I know that we talk about quite a bit. Habitat has a very unique benefit when there's volunteers on site. If you are on a site and you are putting in cabinets or you help paint that exterior trim, you can drive by that house and say, I helped build this house.
Yeah.
They do
for
that
for years.
Exactly.
You can drive by that house
forever,
for a long time,
and they do that for a living. That's their job and that's their role, which is pretty amazing. So I'm excited to hear some stories, Habitat moments from the ladies.
Well, and they work in a field specifically around construction where there's such a small percentage of women who work in the field.
Right.
But then there's even a smaller percentage of women who are in leadership roles.
Right.
And so pretty exciting.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to talk to them. But let's also talk. We're a couple months away, but I think it's never too early to start plugging something. But our new Restore, which will be opening in Newport Richey off of US 19 and Main Street, will be opening on May 13th.
Yep.
So that whole weekend, May 13th and 14th, we have a number of things planned, but we're really excited to be reopening in Pasco County. We had sold our previous piece of property with the idea to open up on US 19, and then COVID got in the way. And so it's just been a slow delay in getting there, but most importantly, it's a great location and a great way for the community to support Habitat.
Right, and I think that I'm so excited for that to be back. To be back in action up there in Pasco. We've been doing so much over the past few months. We hired a regional director, so Robin Liska is out in the West Pasco area, introducing herself to folks and getting people re-engaged with Habitat because of the distance from COVID. So it's going to be the perfect time to, if you haven't been involved with Habitat, and maybe you were, come on back because we're going to have this great big party the weekend of the 13th. In Newport Richey.
I do want to stress, though, that despite the store being closed for a while, and hiring new staff, we still have been active in Pasco County. So, we've built more homes than ever this past year up in Pasco County. So we continue to do work in Pasco County, and we're just looking to really kind of expand our reach and to do more. We know that the housing crisis is one that's being felt all across the region. And so although the majority of the work we do on a regular basis does take place by default in Pinellas County, over the next few years, I think you're going to really see us have a much greater presence in Pasco doing a lot more work.
Right.
So,
exciting.
Yeah. So let's, I'm going to get out of the way. I think Gaby and Kirsten are going to sit down and have a conversation with you, and it'll probably go much better with me out of the way anyway. And then let's hear a little bit about their roles here at Habitat and,
let's do it.
And all that good stuff.
Okay, hi everyone. So we're here with our Women in Construction, celebrating Women in Construction Week. I'm here joined by our Chief Construction Officer, Gaby Camacho. Hi, Gaby. How are you?
Good, Morgan. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
We're excited to see you in the Living HR collaboration room. We've got our culture code behind us, and we're going to do some highlights on our Women in Construction. And we also have Kirsten Valentine over here. Hey, Kirsten. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So we wanted to bring our Women in Construction in this week to talk about where they have come from in their careers and their lives, how they got to this point in their career, why they're with Habitat, and maybe give some insight to other women who are interested in getting into construction or getting into the industry, how they can get into that. So I'll kick it off to Gaby and kind of just ask you to give us a little bit of background, just to introduce yourself to all of the thousands of our followers on the Habicast.
Well, thank you again for inviting us today. For the whole week, I think it's important to celebrate women in construction, since it's typically a field that is more male-dominated, although I don't like that word. But anyways, there's more guys working in the construction field than girls. So anyway, how I got here to this position, I've been in construction in different aspects of the construction field for about 20 plus years. And I started as an intern architect, and I realized after 9 years in working with the architectural firms that I lacked the actual knowledge of the construction process. So I work in many different aspects of the construction field, design development, working with the clients, with the developers, the subcontractors. And I joined the Habitat team kind of like with that desire to expand my knowledge. Yeah. And I actually started as a laborer in the field as a site supervisor, like Kirsten started too. And I have grown into what my position is right now, which is a Chief Construction Officer.
And how long have you been with Habitat?
You
just celebrated a big one, right?
A big one, yeah. For about 12 plus years.
Wow.
I started with Habitat as a volunteer back in 2005.
Okay.
But then I joined the Habitat team in 2009.
Wow. And so in your current role, what does that look like? What do your responsibilities look like?
So I oversee all the aspects of the construction department, from procurement and bidding negotiation to the completion of the house. So I oversee all the department. I oversee a team of 20 plus employees, wonderful people like Kirsten that actually make me look very good.
Well, I've been with Habitat for about almost 4 years now, and you have always been an inspiration to me. I think watching, not only just in construction, but just in the nonprofit industry in general, we have such a unique company with construction and retail and volunteers, and we're a nonprofit, and there's so many different pieces of the puzzle. Gaby has always been a very graceful and strategic leader, which I think has been very powerful for me to watch as I've kind of grown my career at Habitat. So
thank you for those words.
Of course, I'm excited to have you on today to kind of share that story. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
Kirsten, what about you? So you're a site supervisor. You were a site supervisor, and now you are...
I was an apprentice one.
Apprentice one, okay.
And then I was apprentice two.
Okay.
And then I was a field supervisor one, and then now I'm a field supervisor two.
She has moved up a lot here. I love that. So how long have you been with the affiliate?
I've been here for 2 years and 4 months.
Okay.
I volunteered prior, and then I decided to come on board.
Yeah.
I wanted to be an architect like Gaby. My journey to architecture school, I got 3 credits away from graduating, and I was like, I don't want to do this. It's not that I couldn't, it was that I didn't want to. I wanted to be more hands-on.
Yeah.
So I switched my degree to engineering. I worked for an engineering firm for a while. I was just bored, to be honest. I needed to be hands-on.
Yeah.
So I switched my degree to construction. And then to get my work study hours, I started volunteering with Habitat.
Okay.
I came out a few times out on site, and one of the supervisors then told me, hey, you know, Habitat goes international. And I was like, travel?
Love that.
I can travel and
Yeah.
build houses. So I went to Cambodia in November of 2019. And then when I came back, I applied for the job here, and I got it. I also got a degree. So I went to St. Petersburg College for building design and construction management.
Okay.
Got my degree, applied at Habitat, and I've been here ever since.
I
So
love that. I always forget about the Global Village piece. So you got to travel and you've led several of those trips. Yeah. So what has that experience been like? Maybe let's share a little bit about how volunteering and being hands-on in a completely different community internationally. What kind of experience was that? And how do you bring that back to your job here?
You go on.
Okay. So I went into it completely unknowing of most things. I had the basics of how Habitat worked here in Pinellas, West Pasco counties, just from volunteering. But going overseas to Cambodia, I went in head first. I knew nobody. I got there and I was like, this is crazy. It was a big build, so there was a bunch of different habitats. I think we had 12 other countries there. So when we went in, we had like this big welcome, and it kind of had the same feeling that our Habitat does, that we're a big family. We come from all different places and backgrounds, but we're here to build communities. And then we went out to the villages, and we got to see kind of like what we do here is we see where our homeowners live currently, and you figure out which homeowners will be receiving their home, and we went and we built them. And it was really eye-opening. One, because you're building in a completely different climate.
Right.
Cambodia in November, I think it was 98 degrees. That was their winter. So building for their weather trends and things like that was very different, but it was super eye-opening, and it kind of unified Habitat's goals together as an international company, just to build and bring up our community. So I had a really great time.
Yeah.
I would go back. If the wind blew me to Cambodia, I'd probably stay there.
What about you, Gaby?
So to me, I think my experience has been a little bit different than Kirsten. I have not participated in a big build. So my experience has been, we lead a team from Pinellas to go to different countries to build. And we have gone to Africa, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, many places. I particularly have been to Guatemala and Africa. And the first time that I went to a Global Village trip, I didn't have any expectations. So I just literally went as a volunteer.
Right.
And I think that's the best that you could do, because you're there, and then the leads of that build, will tell you what to do. So you're there just serving the community.
Right.
So I like the experience very much, like Kirsten. I loved it, actually. It's, Global Village, it's a really important part of what I do, and it's dear to my heart, you know. So you go there and you just help them build a home, But more than that, because there's always the question, well, can you just send the money? Would it be more efficient just to send the money? But the reality is, it's not, because you are really building a community, and you're breaking that bridge, you're building, I should say, building that bridge between the communities and then whoever, the volunteers that join you. The experience is phenomenal. I love it, and I always come back with another sense of purpose, The program might be different from what we do here in the States, Some of the countries, they sell the home like we do in here. Others are just based on community, They chose the family.
Right.
Others do more sweat equity hours or provide materials. So the program may be very, very different, but the mission is the same. It's just, come together, a bunch of people coming together to provide affordable housing. So,
and even seeing it with the different perspectives, especially as coming over as skilled laborers, if you will, for you to come in and be a volunteer, you probably got a completely different perspective and got to really take that in and see that family from a completely different role than you normally have, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not having the responsibility to build a home, but just the joy to build a home. That was it is very incredible.
Very different.
I mean, it is a whole different experience.
The craziest thing for us, like for me at least, when I went to Cambodia, was seeing their skilled laborers, and they had no power tools because there was no power to the homes. So just how skilled they were with the chisels and the hacksaws and what they had, it was incredible. And they worked at some of them worked faster than we do with power tools. So
Oh, yeah.
just to see the difference in building was
Right.
awesome. It was really eye-opening for me. So
And to see so many different, I'm sure it was very interesting for you when you came back and then you became part of the Habitat family here at this affiliate. I'm sure you had a lot of really cool connections with the people that went on the trip with you too.
Yeah.
So you kind of already had a built-in have a family.
yeah, I did.
The happy family. I like that.
Happy family.
We always have a happy family.
I love that. So, focusing on Women in Construction Week, and it's actually Tuesday was International Women's Day. So we're really highlighting women this week, which is pretty amazing. So let's look back at your time. So 2.5-ish years, 12-ish years, definitely a big span of time. What are some of your proudest moments, either on the build site or in the office or just at a dedication? Like what does that look like? What's that moment that you like to go back to when you're having one of those crazy days and you're like, why am I doing this? What's going on? How did I get here? And then you think about, wow, I was able to accomplish X, Y, Z, or I saw this impact get made. What do those moments look like for you guys?
You want to go first?
Sure. I have a few early on in my construction career before I worked with Habitat. My first biggest realization was I designed something, they sent it off, and then, I saw the address, but I never really paid attention to exactly where it was. And it was over in Tampa.
Okay.
And one day I passed by and I was like, I designed that. So seeing something I designed being built was eye-opening. My architecture professor told me that would be a life-changing moment. And it's one of those things you're like, we'll see when it gets there. And it happened. So I was like, my jaw dropped. I was like, I did that. And then another one of my really proudest moments is driving around with friends or family. Anywhere that we built a home, we passed by, and it's like, we did that.
Yeah.
Like, our team did that. It's really cool. People really love to see our home, especially Teller Estates. I love when I'm out in Pinellas Park and take my friends and drive by. They're like, this is incredible. I'm like, yeah, this is what our team did together. So I'm very proud of those moments.
Yeah. Gaby?
So to me, it's honestly every time we dedicate a home, to me that's the culmination of so many group of people within the Habitat family and outside, the sponsors, the volunteers, the donors, the municipalities really coming together to build something for a family that most of the time they don't even know.
Right.
So that is my proudest moment every single time we dedicate a home. They receive their keys, they go into their home, and just to know that we are part of that dream and their family's dream, and that's going to have a long-lasting impact. It's really, it's I don't know. I'm gonna cry now. But yeah, that's it.
Well, and I think that impact, when I started at Habitat, and I think about a year or so in, you and I actually worked on a special project to attempt to elevate the experience that homeowners get when they get into the program and they get to a certain amount of hours and they start choosing selections for their home. The construction team works with them on that. And originally it was a big bucket of samples.
Oh yeah.
So, since
it was clear, by the way. The bucket.
It was a very nice bucket.
It was a box.
It was
it wasn't a bucket. It was a box.
You're right. I'm so sorry. It was a lovely tub full of samples.
There you go.
But construction had to move that around every time they met with the homeowner, which it's a lot of homeowners every year. So I think that something new opened in the past few months. What is that experience like? I'm sure you've probably heard it from your staff and your teammates, for them to be able to take a homeowner into the homeowner selection room, sponsored by Tibbetts Lumber in our Truist Education Center, to kind of elevate that entire experience so that when they get to see those selections, they're really having a completely different journey moment, kind of like you seeing your home being completely built and you're like, wow, I made that. They're like, wow, I'm going to be able to see this in real life. What is that experience like? How has that changed from the tub days to the
whole homeowner selection room?
Yes.
Well, it has obviously changed 100%.
Yeah.
Because the families are now coming in to a room that is just dedicated for that purpose, The pride that we are providing to them, as well as what they're seeing there.
Right.
It's an incredible, total different experience. They get to see the color selection for their carpet, their flooring, the blinds, the countertops, garage doors, you name it, right?
Yeah.
So for them, being able to they work extremely hard to get to that point. So being able to choose, the different items in an environment that is very welcoming, and elevated, I think that's extremely important. So
Absolutely.
it's, I love it.
I think that I like that you just touched on the like elevated experience. So I think that welcoming piece is something that I read about all the time when I get those volunteer surveys in. Kirsten, you always get the best comments because volunteers love working with all of our site supervisors and everybody on site. Our entire team understands how to provide a really unique experience for volunteers. But I think that I've seen so many homeowner children, especially, run up to you out of dedication. So
and hug her, right?
And hug you. So what is that? What's that a connection and experience like being on site and being owning that home and then having that connection with that homeowner from your shoes?
It's with Habitat. There's some feeling, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm a part of the Habitat family, our Habitat family here within our office and our restore team and our construction team. But then outside of that, we have the volunteers who come back. And the time that I get to spend with them, I get to spend about 6.5 hours with them.
Yeah.
And it's not always in the most nice climate. So sometimes it's hot and humid, sometimes it's raining, but we're still out there to build their house, their house or somebody in their community's house. And a lot of people take a lot of pride in that, me especially. And when I get to teach these homeowners kind of like how I've been taught my whole life how to use tools and do this and do that, they find this pride in learning that they can do things themselves. And then I always make the point to ask about their families because they're not living there alone.
Right.
They are living with their families. And then eventually you're with them all the time. So you get to know about them and their families. And eventually you get to meet their kids or they bring their kids by at the end of the day. And you become a part of their family. I have a lot of Habitat families. Now I've stopped by their houses. I've been invited to dinners.
Oh, I love that.
The kids call me Auntie. So
Auntie Kirsten.
Oh, I love that.
It's a really rewarding and special experience for me, and just being able to help them build their home from the ground up.
Yeah.
Work with them the entire time. But it's cool to walk them through on framing stage and say, here's your blocking in case you ever need to put up grab bars, or here's where this is, or here's where that is. There's no feeling like it.
Right.
And it's just fun. We have a lot of fun out there.
That's awesome.
I love that. I think that's such, every time that, Haley and I are in, kind of see it from a different lens, we're in the marketing world. So we get to have our hands in every different department, which is amazing. And I think whenever I think about the construction department and the impact that you guys have on the homeowners, it's huge. It's not only they're learning about how their home is being built, but that pride that they have to actually build on their home and then learn. I've heard more in probably the past few months, and it's probably because of originally during the pandemic, we didn't have volunteers on site, so that part was missed. But the folks who have been able to build on their homes, everyone talks about how they learned how to use a new tool, or they can't wait to do this, or they know how to do that. Volunteers and homeowners. It's such a cool, I think, benefit of the volunteer program that we have here at Habitat, because it is tangible. Not only are volunteers going to give back and maybe they spend half the day because their company is out, but maybe they just learned how to install a door or hang cabinets or things like that. So I think that education piece, even for the volunteers, is pretty cool. I'm sure it's very rewarding on your end.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you can go ahead.
We're empowering the volunteers and the homeowners, we're, when we teach them something, like we're involving them in the process and they go out, like they leave the site, just with that, feeling that they fulfill, not
some
only
new confidence.
it's just, absolutely. Like learning how to use tools, it's important, especially for women.
Yeah. I was going to bring that up. Our homeowners candidates that are women, or our women volunteers that come out, it can be intimidating walking onto a construction site with all men. I remember when I was in all my construction classes in high school, although I shouldn't have been intimidated, looking back, I was. And it was like, I'm the only one here that's a woman. And you could feel singled out. But I think when they come out to site and they've met with Gaby before and they know Gaby is at the top of our construction team and they know I'm out there, it's almost like a safety net to know that you can do it too. Not because you're a woman, that you can't use tools. You can, and we'll teach you. And I think they find, our women find a lot of comfort within that. So.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, and that speaks a lot to both of you and having that leadership sense, and that we do have that at our affiliate. We're very, very fortunate to have a lot of resources, but some of the resources are our staff. So we have leaders like the two of you and empowering volunteers, homeowner candidates, and then other staff. I mean, we might go out and get some power tools. I don't know. So Haley says no, but that's
we'll
okay.
take her word for So we'll get you this side with
Actually, I did hear Haley
saw.
about Haley hanging a TV or something, so I don't think it went well. We might actually need to have some classes.
A hole like that.
Just cover it up. Cover it up.
We just cover it up.
Yeah, there you go. The TV's going to be in front of
Cover
her.
it up. So, Gabby, you mentioned the word empower, and I think that's so important. And I think that since we're talking about Women in Construction Week and International Women's Week and things like that, if you are talking to a viewer or a follower or whatever out there who's interested in maybe getting into the construction field or maybe just coming out to volunteer or maybe thinking about changing their degree or maybe their industry and they want to get into construction and take that leap, what's a piece of advice you would give to a woman who's in that position?
Well, I think it's important for them to realize that they have to come in with confidence in their abilities. Mm-hmm. Even if they don't have, skills in the construction field, any ability will help, and serve the purpose of, in the construction field.
Okay.
So I think that's extremely important. Be confident, and also be honest with themselves that if they don't know something, they can learn it,
Right.
So it doesn't matter that you don't know something. Just be honest with yourself and learn in the process. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to make your voice heard. You deserve the same respect and treatment as your male counterpart. So it's okay.
Yeah.
So
to be honest.
yeah, absolutely.
Kirsten, what do you think?
This hits a little home a little harder because you've been in the industry for a little bit longer. So I would say first and foremost, look to the women who lead you. Gabby, and I have to give a shout out to Candace Jackson. She was a former site supervisor here. They really kind of made my path a little bit easier. So I would say continue on the path and ask them questions. Look to other women.
Yep.
But also, like Gabby said, make your voice heard and don't let anyone tell you can't, because that'll be your biggest downfall. You need to believe in yourself. Know some days are going to be harder than others. But at the end of the day, eventually people are going to start walking past the men and start asking you what the questions are on the job site. So I just really think it's important to just keep the voices in your head down from others and maybe from yourself and just know and believe that you can do it.
I love that. You can do it.
Yes,
yeah.
we can do it.
We can
We
do
can
it.
do it.
All right, as we wrap up here, you've watched the Habicast. This is my favorite question to ask. I like to ask everyone what home means to them because it's always something different, especially with your perspectives. I mean, you've built homes internationally. You've built them here. You have homes. You've got families and things like that too. So very interested to hear, what does home mean to you?
To me, it's where we make memories, When I remember, like, my home, that's where my daughter took her first steps, That will be embedded in my heart and my mind forever. So that's it, where you build memories,
Love that.
Home to me means safety and stability. You think about home, you think about going home. Oh, I can't wait to be home. You get home, you feel safe, you're comfortable, you're with your family, you feel loved. Really, safety and stability are home to me. And I hope that we bring that to all of our homeowners. I know that we do. So
yeah, absolutely. And that's thanks to you both. So thank you for your leadership, like I said. And I think also it's been really cool to hear your backgrounds and your stories. And I hope that during this week of Women in Construction Week and beyond, we can provide a little bit of empowerment to ladies out there who are interested in maybe getting into construction, or maybe they just want to come volunteer.
Yeah, absolutely. Come and join our team in construction.
Yeah.
We need more women. We definitely need more women. So
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Even though you guys kicked me out of the room for the interview.
Too much brain power at this table.
I guess, yeah. Either that or he just didn't want me here. But that's okay. Kirsten and Gabby are great assets to Habitat.
Absolutely.
Really glad you had the opportunity to sit down and chat with them today. And as we kind of kicked off today, we talked about how women in construction, it's a big focus this month for Habitat. And we really want to continue to highlight the amazing things that the women in our construction department are doing for the Habitat mission.
And I think that there's also an opportunity, Kirsten and Gabby both touched on it. Our volunteers, our homeowner candidates, everyone who interacts with our site supervisors and are working on site, they get to learn something. Maybe they get to learn how to use a new tool, or they gain some more confidence working in that kind of environment. If you're interested in volunteering, or maybe interested in getting into the construction industry, come out and volunteer with us and have our staff kind of get you to that next level of confidence, or maybe you want to join our team at some point.
Yeah, all that information can be found on our website at habitatpwp.org. You can click on the volunteer link to learn how to volunteer. There's a career tab if you are interested in employment with Habitat. We're hiring for a number of positions right now. We're always looking for folks for the construction department. So definitely check out our website. You can also get social with us. We're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok. That's where you kind of go back and forth, right? Isn't that what they do in TikTok?
Boomerang.
Oh, that's a boomerang. Oh, okay. I don't know. I have enough social media I try to keep up with. But, man, I really sound old. But definitely check us out on social. We also post everything on there as well, so you can get interactive with us there. You can also find all the latest information there. So we really appreciate you taking time to be with us today. And please share the Habicast with others. And we hope that you tune in next time. We'll see you next time.